welcome along to the ProjectCars2 Virtual Racing League, where today we are joining the Xbox group as they continue their GT3 championship battles. Today we are at the fantastic Bathurst Mount Panorama circuit, 6.2 kilometres, 23 turns in Australia, of course, an absolutely iconic track. You can see they're coming down the hill, how tight it is. It's going to be really interesting to see how the drivers tackle that today. It's getting really close to the wall, trying to maximise the speed without hitting it, of course. But after the first 4 rounds, we're at round 5 today. It's halfway through the championship, and it's Subrosa in the Porsche 911 leading the way by 5 points from Cherryberry. Just ahead of Scuderia Sam there on 65 points. Stuart Davis in the Mercedes in 4th, ahead of Roger Dodge in the Renault. Alex CDL in the other Mercedes. Chris Doherty in the Lambo. Alex Brown in the Sol McLaren. Crazy Stewpot as well, and Loopy McG. And this is how it looks in the team stand-ins. Audi are leading the way there on 83 points, ahead of Ferrari, Porsche, Mercedes, Renault, Lamborghini and McLaren. So see how that goes today. It's all pretty close, to be honest. So 25 points for a win as always. So it's going to be really close, I think, after today, to see how those point stand-ins shake things up. So as ever, if you've joined us for the first few rounds, this is our lineup of drivers we've got competing in this championship. We haven't got a couple of them today. BTCC Dan there and Dude Chef aren't taking part, but we have got a couple of new ones as well. We've got Joe Brown, who's going to be running a Bentley today. So that's going to be really interesting, seeing the Bentley power its way along the Conrod Straight, the back straight at Bathurst. That thing is absolutely like a rocket in a straight line, so the drivers are going to have to look out for that. And slipstreaming, of course, will definitely come into play along there. So let's have a little look at the championship highlights so far. That was a great replay. That was really highlighted some of the key moments of this championship. It did look a bit like it was going to be an advert for Wreckfest at some points there, but trust me, there's been some absolutely fantastic racing along the way too, and great racecraft being shown. Anyway, let's have a look at the track guide with our local Aussie today, Alex.
Cheers, Mike. Welcome to Bathurst. First corner is hell corner, second gear, quite tricky. Want to hit the apex, and unless you're this driver, he just completely misses it. Now, mountain straight, bang it through the gears, 5th or 6th, you depends on the car really. In the Merc it's usually 5th gear, something like the Bentley, 6th, it's a bit more power. Over the crest there, nice. Coming up to the first big braking point for Quarry Bend. Hit the curb, well you don't want to hit the curb, you want to just go near it. Could have run it up a bit better there, it was quite wide. Now another tricky one, the cutting. Go out wide and cut back in, hence the name. Second gear there. Now the famous bit of Bathurst, the top of the mountain. Quarry Bend, the first one going through now. Then the Reed Park, where most of the fans are, having their barbies and all that. Now McPhillamy Park, bloody hard this one, because you don't want to run in the sand on the right. Now over Skyline, beautiful views, you see the sun in the distance. This tricky downhill bit, straight into the S's and the dipper. Here we go. Alright, could have done it better. Now brake a bit there, third gear, second gear into Forest Elbow. Right tight on the wall on the left. Quite a good job, could have run it out a bit better. Now the famous Conrod straight, absolutely foot to the pan here. All the way to 6th gear. No messing about, because you want to set yourself up for the chase. Absolutely brutal corner if you get it wrong, because you go into the kitty litter on the left, and you don't want to be doing that. Hard braking, try and use the boards on the right, straight into this nasty little left right, and go straight on quite easily. Quite slow like this, or a hot left. Now Murray's corner, last corner on the beautiful mountain track. Nice second gear or third, depends how you want to do it, and cross the line.
Crikey, mate, that was amazing. And loving the accent. Anyway, let's have a little look at the practice highlights now. This is a new one, we haven't seen this one before. I guess we'll just have a little look at what happened. This is some of the drivers practicing, Alex.
Yeah, usually through the week before the race, a few of the drivers meet up and have a practice, get used to the track, get used to the car, see how they're feeling. A bit of night running on this one, as you see Sabrosa testing out the tyre wall, see how that's getting on, and Sam hustling Stu's bright orange McLaren there. Alex out in front, which is quite rare in these races. As you see, even in practice they're still battling hard as the cones go flying. Sam practicing his dives, as we saw at Nürburgring, and yeah, it's just good fun, but still hard pushing time.
Yeah, of course the drivers want to find the limits, as you can see there with the braking zones. Great overtaking going on there, and counter-attack. But yeah, they've got to find the limits of the circuit, because when it comes to crunch time, which is coming up shortly, they're going to have to be on it from the get-go, aren't they? They can't afford to do what Sabrosa just did then, for example, and lose a bit of ground, because they're very even, all these drivers.
Yeah, they're evenly hitting the wall, as Sam shows, but it does show how close everything is. Some cars are faster on the straight than the actual mountain bit. The Ferrari should be going on the mountain, but as Sabrosa takes a good dive there, it looks like Stu's getting absolutely beaten up in the practices. But it just shows where the cars are good and where they're not.
Yeah, certainly. They have got their own characteristics, despite the fact they're all similar performance overall, you know, around 500 horsepower, 3.5 seconds, 0 to 60, that sort of thing. But anyway, in qualifying, Alex EDL, by 0.02 of a second, just nipped a newcomer, Brown there, 2.321 to second. He's in the Bentley, so that thing's going to be flying, I think, at some points. But he might have thought he got that one. Alex just nipped a lap in just at the end there to beat him. Roger Dodge in third in the Renault there, different livery on the Renault. As for Stewart as well, he's got a special livery here down under in fourth in the Mercedes. Stu Brosa, championship leader, down in fifth ahead of Scuderia Sam, Chris Doherty, Luffy McGee and Alex Brown there. And they're on the grid now at night time, waiting for the start to get going, and they're underway here, and it's Alex EDL who gets a good start. Oh, the Ferrari of Scuderia Sam's off in the grass there. It's the Bentley who's disadvantaged. They've got a really bad getaway, did Jay Brown there in the Bentley, and now there's more contact going on. Oh, he's making contact with the Lamborghini now of Chris Doherty, and there's a round, and they're back now, way back, down in 8th or 9th position. right at the back of the field. There's going to be a lot of catching up to do, but they have got the pace, so it's going to be really fascinating now to see how they come back through. So it's Alex CDL leading away from Stuart Davis. It's a Mercedes 1-2 there, but he's getting really hustled by Roger Dodge's Renault. And in the back there you got Alex Brown. He's had an excellent start there. He's famous for his excellent starts on lap 1. Is Alex in the McLaren there. So he's up to 4th, is it? Yeah, 4th, just ahead of Scuderia Sam and Subrosa, the championship rivals there. McG, and you will notice we haven't got Cherryberry on the grid today, so second in the championship. He's going to be taking a hit in the championship here, not scoring any points, and it looks like Scuderia Sam is stuck behind his good friend Alex Brown at the moment, with Subrosa breathing down his neck as they come up to the famous Skyline corner now very shortly. It's going to be incredible to see the cars coming through here as the sun is rising in the distance, blinding them as they go over the crest. Oh, Roger Dodge going down the inside of Stewart. What a move! Fantastic move from Roger Dodge there on Stuart Davis. Stuart Davis very good at defending. You would not have expected someone to go through there. Full commitment from him. Fantastic stuff. And Stuart looks a little bit shell-shocked by that, doesn't he? And he's lost some ground now, but he's certainly on the move, is Roger Dodge. He's closed right up to the back of Alex's car now, Alex CDL, as they go down the back straight. There's Luke McG in the Audi, just ahead of Chris Doddsey. They've been having some good battles in this championship so far, of those two. And coming up to complete lap 1 now, Alex, and what a start this has been.
Yeah, brilliant start. The Bentley just went backwards off the line, but what a fantastic move by Roger Dodge on Stu, just taking him by complete surprise before he went on the hard parts, and you go past Alex who makes a mistake. Roger's really good with these highly fueled cars. He's really gotten used to it fast, and Alex won't like that. But you can see how close the top 5 are. With Subrosa, the championship leader, in 5th, but it looks like Roger Dodge has had a poor exit, and that's allowing Alex alongside on the outside. But it's going to be hard for him to go around with Roger defending. Roger will brake as late as he can, but Alex will have a better run. Yeah, he's got a better run. He's looking outside. He's on the grass, and they're side by side.
Yeah, side by side now, coming out of turn 1, going towards turn 2. I can't remember the name of this straight, Alex, but they're side by side along anyway. Look at that view from onboard Alex CDL as the Renault pulls alongside in that rather Alpine looking livery actually. Alex has got the inside line though and the high ground for that corner, so Roger Dodge has to back out of that one and hope to attack as they go up the hill, as Alex Brown's McLaren goes flying slightly in the background there, but he gets away with it just about. And just in the back here, look at the queue of cars queuing up. You've got Stuart Davis, Scuderia Sam, Subrosa all in the mix there too. Alex Brown just off the back of them. So this is a fantastic train of cars here heading through the very tight, very tricky corners of on the second lap here. And if any one of them make a mistake, it could lose a lot of time here. And don't forget, they've got pit stops to make as well, haven't they?
Yeah, mandatory pit stop, only one though. So you just take it and then get back on it. Oh, Roger wide into the gravel. That's going to allow Stu to close up, but it looks like out of all the drivers, even though he's at first, Alex is struggling with the high fuel load on that Mercedes, just trying to get the pace out of it without spinning it. But Roger's absolutely flying at the moment. He's pulled away from Stu already, and he's trying to get on the back of Alex, which he probably will do here with the slipstream down Conrod Straight.
Yeah, and he had such a good run there out of that hairpin that they're going through. He had such a good run onto the Conrod Straight, so he could get in the slipstream really nicely here of Alex just up ahead. And back with the battle now, this is Subrosa on the back of Scuderia Sam. Scuderia Sam's having a little look at Stuart Davis here, karting teammates, let's not forget, as well, in real life. So Scuderia Sam always having a look down the inside, and Subrosa makes contact, and he's round. As Scuderia Sam goes through and Stuart, Subrosa is round and in the barrier, spinning around there, and he's getting back going now. This is terrible news for the championship leader, as he sees one of his main rivals go past there, up in front, and he's back down to 6th at the moment. What on earth happened there with Subrosa? He's coming in the pits. This is too early though, lap 2.
Yeah, that's there's a mandatory pit limit. First 3 laps, last 3 laps you can't pit, and he's pitted the second lap, so this is disastrous for him. He's going to cop a penalty, surely.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what that penalty's going to be, but Luke McG on board here. Whoa, look at the Ferrari just up ahead there, trying to get out of the way of the slow starting Bentley. Normally the Ferrari's a slow starting car, and Luke McG there nearly gets shoved into the grass, doesn't he, by the Ferrari then? And oh, look at that, just about narrowly avoiding that carnage, Alex. That was a close one.
Yeah, he's on board with Joe now. Yeah, that Bentley just bogs down, and he's just getting mauled by everyone. And you see Sam in the wing mirror, they're going right, because he just didn't expect it. Now, goes wide onto the grass. He's worried about that wall up ahead and just tries to get on the track a bit too early, and Chris is there. Yeah, you can see he's just absolutely mugged off the start, and Sam's quite lucky really. really disadvantaged him though as the Lamborghini and a few of the others went around, and you see he's probably just thinking, I need to get back on the track before I hit the wall, and bang, straight into the side of the Lambo.
Yes, he was just trying to get it back on there. He didn't really have anywhere to go, I guess. He could have backed out of it a bit more, but unfortunate, I think, racing incident on lap 1 there. But there is under investigation now, Subrosa. Look, pit in whilst outside the pit window. First 3 laps, you're not allowed to do it. So, yeah, definitely a penalty coming at some point for the championship leader. But it'd be interesting to see his pace now he's in clear air, to see how quickly he can close up to this group at the front here. Oh, Alex running wide there into the barrier, and this is Roger Dodge's chance here to get alongside as they come out onto Conrod Straight now, and side by side they go, and Roger Dodge is just edging in front there of Alex CDL, and now Alex CDL has the slipstream. These two are absolutely having a fantastic battle, and now Alex is lining them up for a pass as they go down the very tricky, very fast kink here before the left-hander. Oh, Alex is spinning. Is he managed to hold it? No, not quite. He nearly did, and he's going round and round on 2 wheels almost there, and he's off in the kitty litter, as you call it, and in the gravel, and he's trying to get back to the circuit now, but he's losing time, he's losing places. His Mercedes teammate goes through. Very unfortunate for Alex there. Just the slightest tap, I think.
Yeah, so you just the Mercedes had the better close speed. Oh no, he's pitted too early as well. What's he doing? He's probably going to get a penalty also. Well, we'll find out if Roger gets one. Not Roger, sorry. If Subrosa gets one, surely Alex is going to get one too for pitting early. It's just a bit early. He should have waited another lap. But yeah, it looks like slightest touch, and that's just unsettled the car. And the one bit you don't want to is you see on board with the Bentley, it's absolutely eating the tarmac up Mountain Straight, and it's just waltzing past the McLaren like it's not there.
Yeah, it's almost like. Yeah, it's almost like that McLaren standing still, isn't it?
Yeah, Alex had no hope against that, but now we're in the trickier mountain section, and the light, nimble McLaren, you have to imagine, might be able to get its own back here. But just from qualifying, you can see how fast Jay Brown is, so it might be hard to see Alex even getting close. Oof, tapping the barrier
Battle of the Browns here, Jay Brown versus Alex Brown, and they're both in yellow cars too, so that's a coincidence, isn't it? But it looks like on this circuit anyway, with a couple of long straights involved, that Bentley is flying, and Joe Brown is pulling away now from Alex. He's got absolutely tremendous pace, fastest person on the circuit at the moment. He's in 4th. Obviously he had that slow getaway and a bit of an incident with the Lamborghini of Cristati, didn't he? But he's in 4th now. He's only 7.7 seconds off the lead. So as confirmation then, Alex CDL, as we're looking at him, is under investigation for pitting out whilst outside pit window as well. So a couple of the key rivals for this possible race contenders here are under investigation, so this is really going to shake it up. Roger Dodge here has got a fantastic chance, hasn't he, to take a win today. But Scuderia Sam looks like he's coming into some form now as well, closing in on the back of him.
Yeah, barring any little mistakes, Roger is looking good at the moment. So Sam, actually, because he's only second and a bit behind him, 1.5 seconds. And they're slowly pulling away from Stu. So it seems like the Merc's quite tricky under high load until you burn a bit of fuel off and it comes into its own, as we saw at Barcelona, where at the end the Mercs are really coming into themselves. But no one could touch this man at that track in the wet. But he's finding himself down in 8th so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Subrosa was dominant in Catalonia. There's no other way about it. So it's just, he absolutely dominated that race. Lapped everyone up to 4th, as we're looking at a replay here of Lupi McGee and Chris Doherty trying to outbrake each other, and they both ended up outbraking themselves and off into the grass there. Subrosa here, look, tries to go down the inside as Scuderia Sam went down the inside of Stewart, and then the ends just breaks a little bit too late, I think. That was quite a big crash, wasn't it? But thankfully it's just visual damage, so he gets away with it. And this is Alex CDL's moment here. What happens here? Touched him slightly. Yeah,
touched it, and obviously you're turning, so all the loads on the left-hand side. That's probably just unsettled the car, and away she goes. But a few big incidents in the first couple of laps, so it's all to play for, really, especially with the championship leader in the tail end as he's catching Chris up and Alex in the background.
Yeah, certainly. And Subrosa really is on the move, though. He's really catching Chris Doherty's Lamborghini now. It'll be interesting to see whether Chris puts up a fight or not, because Chris has got his own battles today, hasn't he, with Lupi McGee just up ahead there as well. So we got Subrosa and Alex recovering, both under investigation, but both recovering. Subrosa now goes past Chris Ozzy. I think Chris just left him past there, flashes him through, and Subrosa would be very happy with that because he's on his way again now, and he's got a good chunk of tarmac in front of him to get some really good laps in, and some really nice clean laps. You can see Scuderia Sam again out of shape. Oh, hits the barrier slightly. That's what can happen at this circuit. It'll bite you hard through there. You can lose so much time just by making a small mistake through there, can't you, Al?
Yeah, and the Ferrari almost looks skittish going through that bit. It's even the suspension's extremely hard on that car, just going over the bumps. But it is quite a lot of hills and crests to go over, so it probably makes it look worse. As we see Stu in his special Bathurst livery being chased by Jay Brown in the Bentley. It's nice to see the Bentley in the championship. It's quite an underrated car, as was shown earlier with second place on the grid, with Alex in a excellent fifth. He always gets a good start to the races. It's just a shame it seems to tail off a bit towards the end.
Yeah, we see it in the PS4 races as well, don't we? If you watch those, Alex Brown there, he always gets a fantastic start. Doesn't often qualify near the front, not always. Sometimes he does, but even if he qualifies last, you can expect him to be in the top 2 or 3 by the first corner normally, or at least on the first lap. And like you're saying, he does tail off a bit, but he has got a lot more consistent recently, and he's definitely making less mistakes. So yeah, good to see Alex Brown there in the mix, and he's got to contend with a few drivers here today too. So 5-second time penalty, look, Alex, for Subrosa and Alex CDL. So this is really going to shake it up possibly towards the end of the race, because 5 seconds is a lot of time when all these drivers are so even. As we look at the back now of that Renault with the extremely fast cameraman.
Yeah, that could be huge, especially if they're fighting for podium or the lead, and a few of the rivals without penalties are close behind, so they're going to have to absolutely book it and go for it, and just try and build up as much time as they can. Oh, Stu taps the wall there, so that's not going to help him with Joseph fast behind, and Sam following suit and just tapping the wall, but it's easily done. That's such a tricky corner. Yeah,
it is. What makes it so tricky through that corner? Is it the camber changes?
It's more a case of it's blind. You can't see how tight the corner gets. You got and the walls are so close on this track. You've got to be millimetre perfect. Otherwise, you just tap one side, that's going to throw in the other side, and the curbs can throw you as well. So you start with a bad first line. It's just going to affect you in this tight, twisty uphill section. It's basically one mistake leads to another. It's just like a river going back down to the reset on the straight here.
It's a good way to put it, and then obviously you lose more and more time, and yeah, it's just like you were saying, one little mistake can cost you so much here. And on board now, this is the fantastic overtake on board Roger Dodge on Stewart. Look at that full commitment. That was, for me, that's overtake of the championship so far.
Yeah, brilliant overtake. Stu didn't see it coming. Obviously, he's braking earlier. Roger's going to brake a bit later. Probably not as committed on the brakes, just like what was it to roll in. But got to give props to Stu. He didn't close him, didn't force him into the wall. Saw him come in and just gave him the room and realised it's first lap, and you can't win a race on the first lap.
Yeah, quite sensible for Stu there, but now he hasn't quite got the pace to stay with Scuderia Sam and Roger Dodge. He's fallen back to 5 seconds behind them now, a few tenths per lap slower. So now he's got to contend with the extremely fast Bentley. This will be interesting because the Mercedes itself is one of the fastest cars in a straight line here. But yeah, Roger Dodge pitting, look. So he's saying, I don't want to fight Scuderia Sam here. I'm going to pit nice and early. Well, lap 6 now, 16.
Looks like Roger's around in the pits. It looks like he's got a poor entry. I don't think he...
Is he round?
Yeah, I don't think he managed to get the pits right. It's a tricky pit lane. It's quite... there's a little chicane in the middle of it. I think he hit it too late. As you see, he's only just hit his pit stall now, so I think he went around. Hopefully this replay shows. Yeah, brakes quite late. Yeah, he just taps. Oh, cuts the corner. And that's just really effective. And then round he goes. Wow,
that's not... Yeah, go on, Al.
Oh, that's awful luck, especially leading the race quite convincingly. And lucky he didn't Austin Powers it between the two barrier stacks there. But oh, that must have felt like eternity getting that Renault RS around.
Yeah, it hasn't got the best steering lock in the world, does it? Especially when you're trying to do a 3-point turn in such a tight space as a pit lane now. So, well, none of these cars are ideal at that. Yeah, like you say, it must have taken absolutely ages for Rog. Must have felt absolutely ages in that cockpit. But thankfully, he's made his pit stop and he's back out. But this should really put Scuderia Sam in the firing line now, because he's leading the race and his nearest competitors made a mistake. In fact, they all have, because Alex CDL and Subrosa as well have got time penalties come in, so it's really looking good for Scuderia Sam at this stage, especially as these two start battling now and allow him to get further and further ahead.
Yeah, you can just see how under pressure Stu is from that Bentley. It just seems to know where to put it, but Stu's a tenacious defender, so it'd be hard for Jay Brown to get through. Ooh, just having to that's going to unsettle him, but luckily he's braking. As Stu goes wider, that's not a good line. As you can see, the Bentley just closing up there, but the Mercedes seems to have the acceleration on the Bentley, because the Bentley weighs a bit more. But oh, that's him. Stu almost around. Oh, that's quite nice of Jay Brown there just to hold up. He could have just tapped him around and said he was already spinning. It wasn't me. But he got past him on the straight quite nicely now, and I don't think there's much Stu could do. But the Mercedes is fast, so he could try and fight back here. Let's have a look.
Yeah, he's in the slipstream. He's having a look. He's going to have to really brake late here, though. But if you do that, you run the risk of having a really poor exit, don't you, through these two corners here, which really do feed into each other. But it looks like he has got an all-right exit here as Stewart, so he might be in a position here to dive down into this last corner. He's having a little look, and Jay Brown knows it. He's gone defensive slightly. He's planted his Bentley in the middle of the track, so there, isn't he? But look, he's run a little bit wide coming out now, and Stuart Davis has got a great run on him. He's going to have to pass him soon if he wants a chance to stay ahead of Jay Brown in this race, because he's got so much pace, and he's going to really have to go really in this next corner at the end of this straight, I think, if he can stay with that Bentley along the straight, because otherwise they're up through the mountain section, and we know how fast that Bentley is through there too.
Yeah, Stu had a great exit from there. He's looking on the outside. Oh! He's just pushed him out. Oh, he's in the barrier. That's a huge hit. And he's around to reset the car quickly, but I think Jay Brown didn't realise he was quite alongside him and just nudged him off. Is he on board now? Said you've got to give racing room, and it's in the breaker zone, taps him off on the grass, and there's no way you can stop before you're hitting that barrier, so that's unlucky. And the Formula race leaders are now battling away for 7th and 8th, so this is interesting.
Certainly is. That happened so quickly for Stuart there on board. You would have been wondering what on earth has just happened, because once you're on the grass there, you've got no hope of slowing the thing down, have you? And just a bit of a, you could say racing incident, but I think you have to say Jay Brown was slightly at fault there. He should have left a little bit more space. Like Alonso says, you have to leave her the space. Anyway, Roger Dodge, as you say, former race leader in 7th now, battling with Alex, so they're resuming their battle from earlier on. Roger George's pace has dropped off a little bit here, and after that incident, maybe he's overdriving slightly to try and make up lost time, who knows. Just ahead there, you've got Loopy McGee in the Audi R8. I think is that the only Audi we've got in this race? I think it might be, because we haven't got Crazy Stewport or Cherryberry.
Yeah, only Audi is represented by Loopy as he decides to straight line the Skyline. Oh, he's just getting out of the way. That's nice of him, as that was for position, but I think he just sees how fast these two are battling. There's Alex almost around there, and doesn't want any part of that, because his main rival's Chris, as Joe Brown is under investigation for that move on Stu. So looks like Loopy off in the background there, but it looks like that could be a time penalty for Joe. So we'll have to wait and see what the stewards do, but let's see if the Merc can use its power and speed advantage, and won't want a repeat of lap 3 again, so Alex might be cautious of that. Yeah, you can see how much later the Renault can brake compared to the Merc. The Merc has to brake a bit earlier, but usually on the acceleration it can close it back. But Roger had a great exit of the corner there, but you see Alex is quite strong in this last bit, so another lap, another time for battle.
Yeah, you're right. That Renault was absolutely like a rocket out of the in the traction zones, out of the corners. But that Mercedes certainly isn't the best at brake. Oh, Roger Dodge has lost traction. Just as I say that, it's like a rocket going out of traction zones. He's got a little bit too much rocket power coming out of there, and he lost the back end ever so slightly. Well held actually by Roger Dodge, but not enough to keep Alex CDL behind. And Alex CDL probably thinking that overtake was a lot easier than he expected as he nips through now up into 4th place, and he's got some nice clear air in front of him now to try and hunt down those in front. As you can see, Subrosa trying to get past Alex Brown, who was an extremely good roadblock, it has to be said, in Barcelona. He was holding up a big train of cars, wasn't he? 2 Ferraris, I think an Audi as well. He was doing a really good job at defending, was Alex.
Yeah, especially since he picked the wrong tyres for one of the sections, so when it did rain, I think he was on slicks or something, so it was amazing he kept so many cars behind him. But his job's now to keep Subrosa behind him, who obviously has pit and has got that penalty, so you want to try and get past him. But Alex is, like I said, quite hard to get past, but I'm not sure he's done much practice at this track. So we'll see how well he does. This is a good place now into Forest Elbow as Subrosa looks on the outside, trying to sweep around. Alex counteracts that, tries to go on the inside. Great cutback from Subrosa. Now they're side by side down Conrod Straight, but the Porsche just outmuscles him and gets ahead, but I think Alex did just touch the barrier, so that wasn't going to help him at all.
Yes, considering he touched the barrier, he's still within a shot here of retaking that position in that slipstream, which is so effective. Looking around the outside, on the grass, is he going to hold it? Oh, he gets close to the back of the Porsche and just about holds it. I think both of them would have been clenched there slightly. Subrosa looking in his wing mirrors, wondering if he was going to get rear-ended by a McLaren or not, but just about got away with it. So, but yeah, great cutback by Subrosa to take that position away from Alex Brown. You can see how hard Alex was pushing to try and get that back, but not quite. But anyway, look at this battle now. Loopy McGee versus Chris Doherty. I'm sure we've said this before at some point in this championship.
Yeah, I think we said it a few times now. These two seem to find each other. Quite similar cars, except one's green. And they usually have a good battle, so let's see how they get on here. As Chris is all over the back of Loopy, as Loopy's thinking about defending. You've got to be careful not to do too many moves, as you can get in trouble with the stewards. But does that perfectly. I think Chris just backed off a bit, seeing Loopy weaving a bit. And now he might have a bit of a superior run up the mountain straight with that great bit of slipstream he's got. But the Audi looks brilliant on the long straights, it has to be said.
Yeah, you'd expect the Lamborghini to be coming past the Audi, although they are like similar. Have they got the same engine as that Audi got a Lamborghini engine?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're both V10s. So you'd have to check, as they're from this similar family, except one's a lot better looking than the other. So yeah, they should be quite similar.
Oh,
he's flying.
Yeah, and Audi have decided to make airplanes by the looks of it for the Australian market. But in doing so, he's probably going to give up this position because he's really ragged at the moment, is Loopy McGee, the Scotsman, trying to hold off the Irishman here, Chris Doherty. Of course, Chris Doherty does race in real life too, so he's probably got some sort of in his psyche there where he doesn't want to damage the car because it might cost something. But it doesn't matter. Loopy McGee's proven that you can put scratches on it wherever you want. It's not going to cost a penny. Yeah,
I think he's tested every wall at Bathurst at the moment. But it seems to be working. He's kept Chris behind him. It's still pretty close. I don't think any of them are pitted yet, so whether they follow each other in the pits and keep the battle going. But it's just shows that every position counts, as it looks like Alex has got past Alex Brown in the McLaren now. He's just pipped ahead.
Yeah, Alex CDL and Roger Dodge have been catching Alex Brown quite steadily over the last few laps. We're on lap 10 of 16 now. So I think it was a matter of time, wasn't it, before they were going to get... And that's Stuart Davis in the pits. You can see on the right-hand side there. Where's Stuart going to come out? This is going to be really close between all this lot here. But I think
Alex
he's just going to be a little bit behind. Yeah, Alex Brown has jumped Stuart Davis. Or has Alex pitted?
I don't think Alex Brown has, but Alex CDL's definitely jumped him. So is Roger.
Yeah.
And Roger doesn't have a penalty, so that's very interesting.
Yeah, and Rog had that big mistake. Well, actually, Stuart had that big crash as well, didn't he? So I guess they cancelled each other out, more or less. But yeah, that is really interesting because Stuart now is down in 7th. That's really surprising, actually. It'll be interesting to see if this Mercedes now comes on song towards the end of the race and starts catching up those in front. Because at the moment, you've got Scuderia Sam there, who was being caught by Joe Brown, but Joe Brown seems to have made a bit of a mistake at some point because he's fallen back to 10 seconds or so now. Of course, those two haven't pitted yet. Then Subrosa in third. He's 22 seconds off the lead. What is a pit stop here, Alex? That's the key thing here, because when Scuderia Sam pits, he's going to have to try and get out ahead of Subrosa, or at least stay within 5 seconds of him, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's about 30 seconds, something like that. It's not a long pit. It's just like you've got to slow down so much for the pit entry, otherwise you'll do what Roger did and just hit the curb and it'll spin you around. And also you've got to be careful getting out the pit because it's on that 90-degree corner. Too much horsepower out there and you're around. Talking about going around, that's Roger almost going. Luckily he skates along the wall and saves it, but he's really pushing hard to keep within 5 seconds of Alex because he probably knows he's got a penalty.
Yeah, this is a replay here of Alex. Oh, he just clips Alex Brown there. Clips the wall coming down from Skyline. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that, to be honest, in this race, because it's such an easy thing to do. And this is Joe Brown having an incident, is it? Yeah, he runs wide. Oh, look, he's round. That's where he lost his time. He was really closing on Scuderia Sam, and then threw it away there in that corner. You can see the Ferrari just in the foreground there at the start of that incident. So a bit of a shame for Joe Brown there, because he was really catching for the lead. Yeah,
just outbraked himself, tried to keep it going around the corner and just hit the barriers. And as we know, 5 second penalty for Joe Brown as Chris goes around. He's lost at Forest Elbow. There you go, you got it. You'll get away now and try and catch Loopy up again. But that's quite big as well for the front running guys. As Joe Brown's got 5 second penalty for his incident with Stu, so it would be interesting to see where he comes out after his pit stop as well, because you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, I think like half the field have got penalties here now at the moment, haven't they? And Alex Brown now is under attack from Stuart Davis in the McLaren versus the Mercedes. So can Alex Brown keep Stuart behind? These two are notorious, both of them, for their defence. But what's Stuart Davis' attack like? He is known as Mr. Lunge, isn't he? So you can expect him to be going for it at some point. And of course, these two have got history from previously racing for the lead in some races as well, where Alex Brown famously got that win over Stuart at Daytona, I think it was, wasn't it? I think it's Alex's only Brown to date in the Xbox series. And of course, these two battle each other a lot in PS4, so they do know each other really well.
Yeah, you won in the LMP2s at Daytona. Just pipping Stu, really. It was very close and quite dramatic finishes. So I think that'll be on Stu's mind, and he'll want to get past Alex as soon as possible. That special Bathurst livery Stu's got on is quite nice. The black and white. It's a bit different to his usual orange paint scheme, but it's quite nice to see something different. As Alex clatters the wall there, that's not going to help him defend from Stu, but Stu's a bit further back. He's probably biding his time to get a good exit out of Forest Elbow and just use the power of the Mercedes down Conrad Straight. But a bit of a mistake there from Alex. He's done a few mistakes through the dipper and those S's. He's outbraked himself, is it? Just misses the wall. He's a very lucky boy there. And now Stu will get a better exit, and he'll be absolutely gobbling up the slipstream and flying down here into the chase and the heavy braking zone.
Certainly will. Alex Brown really got away with that one coming out of there, didn't he? Just about squeezed through. And Stuart Davis was really close, but Mr. Lunge doesn't fancy a lunge this time round. When you think about it, he said, and Alex has gone wide on the grass. And Stu's through, so Alex did outbrake himself in the end. I was going to say, when you think about it, Stuart Davis here in the Mercedes, he's seeing those cars just up ahead, edging away, now 6 seconds ahead, and he's only got Alex Brown to play with, because behind that he's got a big gap to Lupin McGee and Chris battling away for 8th and 9th. So Stu can afford to bide his time just a little bit here perhaps, and wait for Alex to maybe make a mistake, which he hasn't been doing too many of recently, but this time he did. He outbraked himself, and he's up now into 6th. So let's see what pace Stuart has towards the closing stages of this race now. Lap 13 we are of 16, which means this man here, the Ferrari man, is going to need to pit this lap to avoid a penalty. So will we be seeing another penalty? It looks like he's absolutely pushing that Ferrari to the limit, so maybe he is coming in this lap.
Yeah, that's to be careful though, because like a few of the other drivers done, clattered one wall and that's really upset the ribbon, but Scuderia Sam's definitely pushing it as he locks up slightly. Car does a forward drift, which was quite impressive really. But like you're saying about Stu, he won't want to back off too much because there's only Roger in 5th who's ahead of him who doesn't have a penalty, who has pitted. Obviously, Scuderia Sam will most likely pit this lap before he gets a 5-second penalty. But Alex Sabrosa and Joe Brown all have 5 seconds, so you really want to get on with things, as currently the 5 seconds don't affect Alex and Sabrosa when it comes to Stu.
Yeah, that's a good point, and he is coming in the pits, so we're not going to see another 5-second penalty being handed out. He's really clattering those curves, lucky to get away with that, really attacking the pit entry, kicking a cone out of the way as well, so he's absolutely going for it. And the reason is Subrosa there in 3rd, there he is, the Porsche man, he's coming round the last few corners now, and it's going to be extremely close between these two, as Joe Brown doesn't pit. He's gone ahead into the lead, so we could be seeing another penalty for Joe Brown, but Subrosa now heading to the final corner. He's accelerating now in that Porsche 911 onto the straight. This could be very close here. Looks Scuderia Sam though, trundling down the pit lane. There's the Porsche on the outside going down the straight. It's going to be really close. Who's going to get there? And I think it's just the Porsche. Yes, the Porsche gets on the power. Subrosa goes onto the out of turn 1 now, and there's the Ferrari getting up to speed. So Subrosa just a couple of seconds ahead of Scuderia Sam here, but with that 5-second penalty. So can Scuderia Sam stay within 5 seconds? And what's going to happen to Joe Brown up in front?
Yeah, I think because Joe Brown was a late entry, I don't think he was told about the pit window, so he might get away with that one, but he's already got a 5-second penalty, so that's going to affect his race regardless. And Sabrosa and Sam are only 15 seconds, 12 seconds, so he's going to come out behind them regardless. What Sam's got to have to worry about is keeping within that 5-second window at the moment of Sabrosa, as currently it's only 2.5 seconds, but that Ferrari usually comes good second half of the race, as you see Sam absolutely nailing the apex. Is lovely. But he's got to be careful, running slightly wide there, so he has to be careful not to do anything daft and ruining the race of and possibly is a nice win for Ferrari.
Yeah, he won the first round, didn't he, at Nürburgring, but he hasn't got a win since. He finished second at Donington as well. Sabrosa has won the last 2 races, let's not forget. So Sabrosa here is looking for 3 wins out of 3. Other than that, we've had Cherryberry win a race as well at Long Beach. So yeah, we've had a few different winners, but Sabrosa has certainly been the 4-man recently. But it looks like Scuderia Sam has been going well at this circuit, although a lot of his rivals have actually either crashed or got penalties, so that's going to help him in this one.
Yeah, definitely will. So see Joe Brown now pitting, and it must be quite awkward in the big Bentley going through that tight little pit lane. It's quite awkward even in the smallest of cars. But he comes in, finds his pit stall, drops her in, as we see Sabrosa and Sam going through now. They should easily pass him. Alex may pass him, he might be a bit too far back. It's going to be close as he comes onto the pit straight. Looks like Joe Brown's just come out the stall, so yeah, Alex may pass him. We see him now coming around Hell Corner, nicely in the apex. Yeah, he's well past Joe. Now the big question is, where does Roger and Stu come out? Roger's just ahead of Stu still. Can we see? It looks like there's a blue Renault in front of the big Bentley, but it's quite hard to tell. Hopefully we'll swap to Roger in a minute as we follow Stu. Yeah, Roger's jumped him in the pits. That's a great move from Roger, timing his pit earlier on in the window.
Yeah, but now the thing is, he's got 1.5 laps or so, or nearly 2 laps, to keep that Bentley behind him. Roger John's really going well in the early stages of this race, but sort of fell away a little bit after that pit lane incident. So can he have a little bit of a revival here for the last lap or so and keep that Bentley behind? That would be really interesting to see how that resolves itself. Meanwhile, we've got Alex CDL just up ahead. It looks like he's dead set for 3rd place at the moment, unless he makes a mistake. He has spun a few times in this championship. It's been well documented. But just one spin here today, and it was a bit of an unfortunate one. Otherwise, he could be leading this race too. And then, of course, the battle for the lead, Sabrosa versus Scuderia Sam, 2 championship rivals. And then further down the field, yet to be resolved, we've got... well, that's pretty much it, actually. I think everything else looks like it's going to be set with only a lap or so to go. So it is looking like 1st versus 2nd, and 4th versus 5th at the moment.
I don't think Alex's 3rd place is dead set yet, because I think Roger's close enough to benefit from the 5-second penalty at the moment.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there's only a 3-second gap, so Alex really needs to get a move on just to try and build up those 2 seconds. But it's going to be hard unless Joe Brown really starts to bother Roger and attacking him. But it's hard to see at the moment because there's a second between those two also, and it's the last lap.
Yeah, I mean, Roger's got some great pace, so like you're saying, with Alex's penalty there, I don't know if it is secure. You're right, actually, in saying that. I forgot about his penalty. But up front here, it looks like Scuderia Sam's taken a few tenths out of the last lap of Subrosa. Subrosa might be going slightly easier, but it's so hard, isn't it, leading a race going into the last lap when you've got a rival breathing down your neck. It's so difficult not to make a mistake.
Yeah, Alex Brown pitted outside the window as well, so he's in trouble too. It's a lot of the field's in trouble so far. They must know it's the midpoint and there's a break after this race. So
why is that? Because we haven't actually seen any incidents in terms of pitting outside the pit windows all season, and suddenly in the 5th round we've got loads.
I think it's
a huge list.
Yeah, I think it's a case of when Alex and Subrosa both span, they just wanted to minimise the time loss, so they came in and must have completely not realised it, since obviously they'd be thinking about the spin and not the actual window. As for Alex, harder to say really. As I said, could have forgot, and obviously Joe was quite new, but he got a penalty for other reasons, for on-track conduct. So yeah, it could be stricter stewardship lately, especially as there has been some incidents which could have been avoided. So yeah, it might be getting stricter, but obviously if there's a pit window, you've got to abide by it.
Absolutely, yeah. Back with the action. It's 1.2 seconds it's down to now between the Porsche and the Ferrari coming up to the last couple of corners, but the Ferrari Scuderia Sam is not close enough to benefit from the slipstream, I don't think, of Subrosa. So Subrosa just has to not make a mistake now through these last few corners, and I think he's going to be on for, well, actually he's not going to win the race, is he? Because he's got a 5-second penalty as well. So it's actually between him and Alex. Will he be ahead of Alex on the line? That's the key question, with Alex 6 seconds behind. So it looks like Scuderia Sam's going to win this one.
Yeah, it's whether he keeps third at the moment, Subrosa, because he's just, I think he's just missed the 5 seconds of Alex. As for Roger, he has to be careful, but I think he's ahead of him. Look how close these two are, as Roger just pips the Bentley. I think Roger will have Alex, and I think Subrosa just keeps third. It's quite hard to tell, but Stu home in 6, another load of points as in special livery, as we see the Ferrari and the Porsche go alongside having a chat about the race.
Yeah, the Ferrari is going, you got a penalty, right? And the Porsche is like, I'll just flash my lights anyway. But Alex Brown now in the McLaren, coming up to the last few corners, he's had a bit of an adventurous race, hasn't he? He hasn't had so many people to play with as usual. He's been a little bit behind in terms of the consistency at this circuit. Perhaps the McLaren doesn't quite suit this one. But he's coming under that madness sign now. He's really weaving that car still. I'm not sure if he's trying to get some more heat in his tyres or something. I'm not sure. He takes out the advertising board as well, as is customary. And Alex Brown now weaves across the line to celebrate 7th position and a good bunch of points there, which will help him in that midfield battle in this championship. And of course he's ahead of Lupi McG and Chris Doherty there, so that's really going to help him in the championship, because all those guys are pretty close, it has to be said. So Lupi McG getting the better of Chris Doherty after the Lamborghini spin at Forest Elbow. So yeah, that's quite interesting as well, isn't it? Lots of stories from this race, to be honest.
Yeah, it's quite a busy race, and both for the stewards and the drivers, as you see Lupi across the line in the sole Audi. And yeah, Chris is a bit further back from Lupi. He's stopped. He's having a look at the scenery. He might have seen a kangaroo on the offside, or checking out the barbecues to hunt down later as he comes down to Murray's corner. Well, skips Murray's corner. And
he really wants to get back for that barbecue.
Yeah, he's absolutely gunning for the line. He'll probably be the first one back to the pits. He'll overtake everyone.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, and looking at the confirmation now of the race results. Of course, this is without the 5-second time penalties applied. So it looks like with Alex's time penalty as well. Actually, I think it's going to be Scuderia Sam for Subrosa in second. and then Roger Dodge in third.
Yeah, I'd say he's third. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Alex, possibly. Yeah, it's very complicated. You need a maths degree to work out this one, basically. But we'll have a look at what the championship standings are, because that will tell us everything we need to know, I think. But looking at the lap times there too, look at the lap time there of Joe Brown. Incredible. He's absolutely on it at that circuit. So driver standings, Subrosa 3 points ahead of Scuderia Sam. Cherryberry not present. He's only 23 points off the lead there, but 8 points ahead of Stewart. Roger Dodge, Alex CDL, Chris Doherty, Alex Brown, Luke McGee, they're all really close. So is Crazy Stewpot there in the mix. Joe Brown joining the championship there, ahead of D-Man, who wasn't present either today, and Free Gazelle as well in the Porsche. So yeah, a few absentees, which is definitely going to make an effect on the championship. But it's such a long championship, we're only halfway through, that by the end of it, I think it'll all shake itself out. But Audi do still lead the standings, Alex, despite only having one car. And Mercedes and Porsche and Ferrari all very close.
Yeah, but Mercedes have jumped up massively. I think they went from 4th to 2nd now, just from 2 good results with Alex 3rd Alex 4th and Stu in 5th or 6th. So yeah, they've gained massively with Cherryberry and Crazy Stewpot missing out this race. As we see some highlights going through with the beautiful sunrise in the background.
Yeah, that was a cracking race. Really enjoyed that one. So join us next time. We take a break next week, let's not forget. But the next race is going to be absolutely as good as this one, let's hope. So join us then.